Hey guys, it's Jasmine and welcome back to my channel. Today I've got a really soft and loose, pretty shaker card for you, and we're going to do an inlay die cut technique as well. So I've started off with some Strathmore 140-pound watercolor cardstock that I've cut down and stamped and heat embossed in Versamark with white embossing powder this text hug stamp by Concord 9th, and it's from the Cuddles and Hugs stamp set. And I've gone in with a little bit of water to start with, just a little bit, just a slight misting. And then I've sprinkled on 2 colors of Lindy's Stamp Gang Magical Shakers. Now these are a powdered ink with a shimmer to them. And I've got Gluten Tog Teal and Polka Purple to start out with. And these are really concentrated inks that are in a powder form. And they've got mica in them, so they add the shimmer. So you want to add just a little bit to start with because these are really concentrated, so a little bit goes a long way. And you want to make sure you've got some paper towels or something absorbent with you so you can soak up any puddles anywhere that's too much color for you. And I like these 2 colors because even though the Gluten Tog Teal is on the green side, it blends with the purple really well and you get a really pretty purpley blue shade out of it. And these are nicely layerable, so if you dry this right now, you can go in and add another layer on top of it and it won't reactivate. So I've got some Colorburst liquid metals. Now the liquid metals specifically are a fluid in these little bottles. They're not dry. Most of his Colorburst products are dry, but the liquid metals are fluid. And they're really shimmery, mica based. This one is actually clear. It has no pigment to it. Just a really pretty shimmer in it. So next I'm going in with a Colorburst Orchid. And I got a really big blob in the middle. So I say you want to be really ginger with these so that you don't get too much. So you can see how dark that is. Now Orchid dries back to a softer purple, but when it's wet it looks really intense. So I do go in with my paintbrush and kind of move that around a little bit. Now the more water you add, the less of the granulation you'll get. So if you look up towards the teal, you can see where the color is still a little bit concentrated and you can see it moving around into kind of streaking. And I love that quality about the powdered watercolor pigments and the inks. So to get that granulation, Colorburst does it, Brush Show does it, and the Lindy Stamp Gang Magical Shakers do it as well. But the more water you add, the more fluid it gets, obviously, and the less granulation you'll get in the final product. So you want to be careful how much water you add. And if you do get too much color in a section, just go ahead and blot it up with a paper towel. And you can move this around with your brush. So I tend to move the bigger blobs of color around, and then if I get just too much color, I'll blot it up with paper towel because I do want to keep this soft and I want to keep some of those loose edges. And this is a good way to practice with loose and soft or hard edges. And when this dries, like on this corner, you'll see it. This is called a hard edge because it's not blended out. Where the colors are blended together, it's a soft edge. But I really like the loosey, flowy look of this when it's finished. And these can be a little bit pricey when you buy them. I like to buy them in the 6-packs because they're cheaper overall. But you can buy them individually if you only want a couple colors. But they last forever. I've had mine for, the original set I've had for, 5 years or so, and I haven't run out of any of them. Because they do last a long time because they are so highly concentrated. So I went ahead and dried this with my heat tool just to speed it up. You can let this sit overnight, and usually I do. I prefer leaving them overnight because when you heat dry them, they tend to curl and warp a little more. But because I had this taped down, I didn't worry about it too much. But you do want to be careful with remelting that embossing powder that's on there. And in the areas that the white powder isn't showing through so well, just take a dry paper towel and kind of buff over it, and you can buff off most of that color once it's dry. Do not try to do it when it's wet because you'll tear the paper. It'll be a big mess. You'll be upset with me. So wait till it's dry. And you can see the shimmer coming through that, and it's so pretty. Now the color bursts are not shimmery, except the liquid metals. The dry color bursts do not have mica in them, so they're just flat. But the Lindy Stamp Gang do have mica in them. And the Lindy Stamp Gang has 10 colors, whereas the color burst, I want to say he has at least 30 colors in the entire range now. I could be wrong. He has several though. So now I'm going to go ahead and die cut this, and I'm using, the frame is a My Favorite Things Wonky Stitches die, and the middle one is a Hugs die. And this actually cuts 2 pieces from Concord 9th as well. So what I did to get this out whole, because I wasn't quite sure how I was going to go with this at this point, I just took some yellow painter's tape, which is a really low-tack tape, and kind of peeled it off the die so that it all sticks together. And I didn't have like the little inner pieces kind of moving around. So I've moved this to my Misty. And I'm going to use just some Memento Tuxedo Black ink to stamp this little add-on sentiment. And this is also from the Cuddles and Hugs stamp set by Concord 9th. And because of that color burst and mica on there, it's going to kind of resist the ink a little bit. So I ended up stamping this 4 times, which to do that, you'd have to have a Misty or some other stamp positioner tool. I prefer the Misty because it's the original, it's the best. That's just my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a shaker. So it's got some score tape on the back, and I've made a window around the die cut. And then I'm going to adhere a section of acetate. And I get the acetate from Hero Arts. So here I've got some 3M foam tape that I've doubled up and then cut in half. So this is double thickness from the original roll. And you want to make sure that your edges are butted up against each other so that your filling, whatever you use for your shaker bits, whether it's sequins or loose glitter or seed beads, doesn't escape. Because I've had that happen, and it's kind of frustrating. So I'm building up my panel, and I've just got some extra pieces around the edges to make sure it's supported all the way around. And then on the back, you're going to want to take a powder tool and run it around the edges of the foam tape so it doesn't stick. And then also all over the acetate to kind of reduce the static cling so that your shaker bits move a little freer. And I'm using Little Things by Lucy's Cards, and Paradise is the greenish blue mix, and then Lucky Dip Purple Paradise is the purple mix. She's got so many different varieties, and they're all gorgeous, and I love them. I can't get enough. And then I've just got some pearl cardstock on the back to kind of serve as the backing. So here's my die cut, and now this cuts 2 pieces, so you've got this outline part that I'm not going to use, and then the inner part. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that using some Tombow Money Multi. And I went with a liquid glue, which I normally don't do. I prefer dry glues, just because there's going to be a little bit of margin of error, so I wanted it to be able to move just a little bit. And I added just some skinny little dots on the back so that I didn't have any squeezing out where I didn't want it. So to finish off the card, I went ahead and attached it to a soft gray card base using just score tape, and that finished off the card. So I'm going to use this as my Mother's Day card this year because I want something a little different, a little away from the flowers and the typical stuff like that. So thanks for watching. We will catch you next time. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and like button, and have a great day. Bye, guys.